The name of this video is Doctors Are Sickened by What She Did to Her Toddler.
Hi there, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. What's going on?
Okay, my name is Lindsay. I babysit kids.
Yes.
And we just dropped her off, and all of a sudden she just passed out.
Who's passed out?
The little girl, she's 3. She felt pretty bad yesterday, and she's been fine. And then all of a sudden we dropped off this morning, and she walked in and she kind of passed out. She went limp.
Okay.
I don't know.
Are you with her now?
Yes, and told her that. I called her. Yes, hurry, she's bad. There's something wrong.
Okay. Is she awake right now?
Yes.
No, stay on the line with me. I have to ask you a few questions while my partner gets the medics dispatched. Okay, is she breathing?
Yes, in and out.
Okay.
Yes, in and out. I don't know what's wrong.
Okay, is her breathing completely normal?
Oh, yes, almost gone. Hurry, please.
Okay, lay down on her back.
Knocked out.
Lay her down on her back and let her head tilt back. Okay. Is she still unconscious, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
No, she's unconscious. Her eyes are open and she's like just gasping for air.
What's the matter?
Fucking shock or something.
I don't know what could be wrong with her.
I don't either. She was fine. Who just walked in the house?
She got up, brushed her teeth. I don't know.
They talking about they little girl. I guess they talking about their daughter.
I don't understand.
Lindsay, it's okay. They're on the way.
She just walked in the house and just passed out.
Hey.
Washington.
Hey. Look at Daddy. Hannah. Look up. Easy.
You're okay. I love you.
Hannah.
I love you, Buttercup.
Hey.
So wake up. There we go.
The woman in this 911 call is 35-year-old Lindsay Parton of Butler County, Ohio. The distraught babysitter made the call after one of the children in her care, 3-year-old Hannah Weshy, abruptly passes out while at her home. But when confronted about exactly what happened to Hannah leading up to the tragedy, Lindsay would end up changing her story an unbelievable 7 times, leaving detectives to work out what or who Lindsay.
Yeah. What you think she did to the baby? I hope it ain't no gruesome ass shit.
Was trying to hide. On Thursday, March 8, 2018, Jason Weshy and his young daughter Hannah woke at dawn. As they did every morning, just like any other day, Jason got ready for work, then got Hannah ready to be dropped at her babysitter, Lindsay Parton's house. Despite being next-door neighbors, Jason's house is approximately 300 feet away from Lindsay's. Hence, he regularly drove to drop his daughter.
That's a big ass house. And yeah, it is a far ass walk. That is a far ass walk.
Her off every morning instead of walking. Jason would later recall that on this particular morning, instead of wanting to sit in his lap and drive like she usually did, Hannah crawled into the back seat and laid down, which was very unusual for the energetic toddler. About 5 minutes after texting Lindsay to let her know that they were on the way over, Jason's car pulled into her driveway. Lindsay went into her garage to meet the pair. Jason set Hannah down in front of Lindsay, then gave her a hug and a kiss before he turned to leave. Hannah called him back, asking for double kisses, and Jason gave his daughter more kisses and hugs before assuring her that he'd be back later, then rushed out to make the hour commute to work. He had no idea the horror that would occur just minutes after he turned his back. Lindsay escorted Hannah inside the house where the little girl asked if she could sit on the couch and eat a donut before breakfast. Hannah then began to remove her jacket and, in the next moment, she fell limply to the floor. At least, that's what Lindsay Parton told detectives about what had happened when she spoke to them later that morning.
So, take us back to this morning when when Hannah gets here.
Okay, well, he walked in the door like normal.
Through the front door, back door?
Where you guys came in.
Mm-hmm.
And sat her down.
Was he carrying her?
Mm-hmm. Carries her in, has her blanket over her, cold, obviously, right now. And sat her down.
In the garage or?
Cold, obviously. She oversharing. Oversharing.
Yeah, she's standing there, and, the kissed goodbye, whatever. He's not back to get you. She said, okay, bye. And I looked at her. I said, are you tired this morning or you want to stay up? She said, I want to stay up. I said, okay. So we walked in. She was in front of me. I opened the door. She was in front of me. That red chair that sits right there. My phone down. Started to take off my robe. She looked at me. Buddy, can we do couch and donut? And she went to take off her jacket and just fell forward. And like I said, Hannah, get up. What are you doing? I thought maybe she tripped because was putting my robe down. I wasn't necessarily like looking at her, and she didn't get back up.
Jason had just made it to the barn at the end of their street where the company stored supplies. He was starting up his work truck when he received a frantic call from Lindsay at 7:01 a.m., just 3 minutes after leaving her house. It took Jason only a single minute to get back to Lindsay's house. When he gets there, Hannah is lying on the floor only a few feet inside the doorway to the garage.
And then her eyes were like half open, and she was non-responsive, like she was looking, staring at that book, you know? Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to talk to her, I'm like, Hannah, talk to Daddy. It's like I wasn't even there. I told her to neck up to open her airway because she was having trouble breathing. And she'd like gasp, like, and then let it out. And she wouldn't breathe for like a split second. And I said, Hannah, shake her. She, and then she stopped. And then Lindsay, she said, what should I do? Should I call 911? Yeah, call 911.
So Lindsay calls 911?
Lindsay called 911 off her phone. And Lindsay was on the phone with 911 until they got there.
While on the phone with emergency services, Jason moved his daughter from the floor inside Lindsay's home to the couch in the garage. He desperately tried to comfort Hannah and keep her breathing until the ambulance arrived. About 15 minutes later, paramedics entered the garage and rushed Hannah to Fort Hamilton Hospital. Shortly thereafter, she was transported to the renowned Cincinnati Children's Hospital in critical condition. Jason claims that Lindsay asked him whether she should call 911 or not. If this is true, it's a...
Yeah, that was a red flag. What you mean, should you call? You should have been already... Soon as you would have called him and knew he was on the way, you should have been calling 911. What the fuck? Yeah, bitch, you guilty.
Big red flag. Most people experiencing a true emergency where someone is struggling to breathe would want to get help right away. But for some reason, Lindsay didn't call for an ambulance, which leads to the question, why? One possibility is that panic can impair a person's course of action. People can both physically and psychologically freeze. Another is that Lindsay knows more about the cause of Hannah's injury than she's letting on. It's possible that she's trying to come up with her story first before having to provide that information to a dispatcher. This is the fabrication phase of the liar's loop.
We've talked to the doctors down at UC. Hannah's not doing good. Okay? Whatever happened to her happened this morning.
Oh my God.
It's not from the fall from yesterday. She has a severe brain bleed.
Oh my God.
So
what the
we
fuck?
need is the truth from you.
Yeah, that is
Because we need to know how this happened. That way we can treat her.
I'm absolutely telling you the truth. Oh my God.
The way it's looking right now is that this happened at your house because we need to find out. We need the
I
truth.
swear to God, I'm telling you the exact truth. We walked in the house.
From what the doctor's saying, she did not.
So it was brain bleed, so she was beating her? She was beating on her? But once she had like bruises on her face, in order to crack somebody's skull, I'm pretty sure you gotta have like, with brain bleed, you gotta have physical like bruises, right? No? Maybe, I don't know.
She did not walk. She did not talk with this type of injury.
When interrogators hear I swear to God statements, such as what Lindsay has just said twice, they're trying to recognize this as a sign that the suspect may be trying to make their lie sound more convincing.
Is she lying?
It's
So,
important to remember that one deceptive indicator doesn't prove that Lindsay is lying. It's possible for phrases like this or other similar statements to be part of someone's normal speech patterns. Detectives will already have a general idea about how Lindsay usually talks, since they will have gathered a baseline during the first part of the interview. If this sounds out of the ordinary for her, they will be on high alert and will likely push her further on her story.
She walked right in my house.
Okay.
And within 30 seconds, that I swear I'm not lying.
Notice that Lindsay's palms are face down when she insists that Hannah walked into her house. When someone makes a declarative statement with their hands palms down, this is typically seen as a high confidence position. You would expect to see this when someone is telling the truth. However, it's possible that Lindsay is feeling confident in her story even if it's not the truth. This is the version she already gave on the 911 call, and at least once to these detectives. Each time someone repeats their lie, they will feel more confident in what they are saying. That's part of the reason that detectives will point out inconsistencies in the suspect's story, because it shakes up the person's confidence, which could make it more likely for them to slip up or confess. As well, when Lindsay says, "I swear I am not lying," this is likely a convincing statement. Suspects who are lying may feel uncomfortable just denying the allegations, because they know the evidence may not support their answer. This could lead to them making convincing statements to alleviate their discomfort and make their lie sound more credible.
I would never hurt a kid in my life. My kids don't even get spanked.
Here, her hands flipped a palm up, a low...
Oversharing. My kids don't even get spanked. Where is your kids? How old is your kids?
confidence position when she says her kids don't get spanked. This is known as the rogatory position and usually indicates that the person is pleading or begging to be believed. This can be a red flag to detectives because someone telling the truth doesn't usually need to ask to be believed.
Okay, so if you wouldn't, who would?
I don't know.
Okay, I believe you're not being honest with us, and you need to come clean with it. Because
Right
you're going to
now
be a
it's-
part of this. Do you understand me?
Yeah.
Okay, as one mother to another, you can't kid. You can't joke around about this. You can't hide behind it. You need to come ahead of this and tell us what's going on and what you know.
Yeah, I don't know anything that goes on over there, but then I know she's mischievous.
Okay, what happened this morning?
Nothing at my house.
It's a red flag that Lindsay's hands are in the rogatory position while she's making a declarative statement about how nothing happened at my house. If she had nothing to do with Hannah's injury, she should be confident in her statement here, but her body language suggests otherwise.
What did he say to you?
I said, oh, her bruise looks better. And he said, yeah, because actually I put vapor rub on her.
Yeah.
Trying to make it cool down. And I Googled how to make a bruise look better.
It's interesting that Lindsay volunteers information about how she Googled how to make a bruise look better, especially given she used the phrase look better rather than feel better, suggesting she was concerned about how it appeared rather than how Hannah felt. It's possible that she's aware that her search history may be examined by detectives, and she's trying to preemptively cover her tracks.
You
We're
know?
talking about something that happened today, okay?
Yeah,
And
nothing
she's
happened this
probably not
morning.
going to make it.
You're fucking kidding me.
No, I'm not.
We're not. And this is going to be a homicide.
We need to find out what's going on.
Oh my God.
What did he say to you this morning?
God, I'm even trying to remember what we even said this morning. I said it's snowing again.
How did he act?
Normal. Completely normal. This was a completely normal morning.
By shifting their focus to Hannah's dad, the detectives may be hoping to lure Lindsay into a false sense of security by making her think she is not the main suspect. She may be more likely to give information away if she thinks she is in the clear.
How she was acting was normal.
Yes. I swear to God. I swear on my daughter's life. She walked into the house and nothing was abnormal whatsoever. Not one thing.
While pediatricians at the hospital were examining Hannah, they'd made several horrifying discoveries. In addition to the swelling in her brain, Hannah's body was covered in various scratches and bruises, including a black eye, several small bruises across her chest, a scrape on her chin, a bruise on the left side of her head, as well as on her shoulder and neck, and
So she been doing this shit. That wasn't that first morning. She been beating on this baby. What the fuck? So the daddy ain't see none of this shit on her? A black eye, it's a lot of shit that you can't hide. Unless she was putting makeup on that baby. But when they take her a bath and see, like, who don't examine a baby?
Concerningly, a severe swollen bruise on the back of her head. The doctors confirmed that Hannah's injuries were consistent with her being shaken, and they didn't have to speculate long before they were sure that the marks on her body were the result of a... This news landed Lindsay, as well as her husband and Jason, in front of detectives on March 8th. Later on the same day, Hannah fainted.
So I'm going to be very matter-of-fact with you. And I want you to be a matter-of-fact with me. And if you're sitting here telling the truth, that's great. But if you're sitting here and you're covering and you know things, then watch. Listen to the words I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
You will be...
Yeah.
Because this is the only spot that you're going to get a chance to cooperate. Because once we're done, and if you don't let it out, then that's on you.
Cooperation is actually available to a defendant throughout the process. In fact, cooperation at this stage is the worst possible option for Lindsay, because she's not secured the advice of her legal counsel, and therefore her cooperation only benefits the interrogators, not her.
There'll be no hands reached out to you.
Yeah.
So the things I know for a fact, are these doctors who have a lot more knowledge than, as you said, any of us. Say this baby was beat.
Oh my God.
Listen to me. These bruises that are all on its chest has made the doctors nauseous. That the swelling on the brain was from a beating. That her retinal, being her eye, is totally, it's just from the beating. When you have doctors telling you this child was beat, they've just pulled the plug on this child. This child is dead.
Oh my God.
Fuck.
So we can't get any more serious than where we're at, Lindsay.
No, we cannot.
That's what I'm saying. So
It's unclear whether the detective was fed false information here, or if he was knowingly lying to Lindsay. But at the time of this interview, Hannah actually isn't dead. She was still in the hospital in critical condition, fighting for her life. Lying during an interrogation is legal so long as the lie itself does not amount to psychological. This is an interesting gray area, but likely wouldn't amount to a Fifth Amendment violation.
the beating that took place on her head was absolutely in a time frame of the time she was in your house to the time that had to be almost immediate prior to coming to your house. That there's absolutely no positive.
So she did all of this that quick? He said he came back within 3 minutes of dropping the baby off. So she beat that baby for 3 minutes.
Positive way that this child was sitting
Shit.
down, playing with blocks, having conversations, that it absolutely could not have happened. Have you ever seen?
No, he just said
strike any of this?
all of this happened within the time that she was in your house. So it had to happen at your house. Because they could have said it happened at the house and she came there and collapsed. No, they said all of that happened at her house. So she got to be, her and her husband got to be the main two suspects. That's why they brought her husband in. Fuck.
Kids?
No, he's not even, he's hardly ever home. And when he gets
Was
home.
he there this morning and
No.
you're just covering your line?
No, he was at the barn.
Timothy T.J. Smith is Lindsay's husband, and the reason that she started babysitting Hannah in the first place. TJ's father owned Smith Corp Construction, a local construction company where TJ oversaw various groups of contractors as they work on different projects. In June of 2017, TJ had hired Jason Weshy on as a mechanic. At the time, Jason happened to be the sole caretaker of his young daughter. Hannah's mother allegedly struggled with addiction. Her substance use reportedly resulted in Hannah being born addicted to substances. Doctors weren't sure that she would survive her first week of life. However, with her father's support and tireless work by NICU staff, she was successfully weaned off of the substances over the course of 3 months, and she would go on to grow into a healthy little girl. Before Jason started working with TJ, he and his daughter spent the majority of Hannah's life struggling with homelessness. Almost every night for 2 years, Jason would sleep inside his car so that Hannah could safely sleep at his brother's house. After landing this job, Jason was making enough money to care for his daughter, but he still had no one to watch Hannah while he worked up to 12 hours a day. Since Lindsay was already babysitting a friend's daughter, in addition to watching 2 young daughters of her own, her husband figured she wouldn't mind taking on one more little girl. She agreed to a temporary arrangement where she would watch Hannah on a near-daily basis, while Jason was at work. About a month after getting hired, Jason had another huge stroke of luck. The house right next door to Lindsay and TJ went on the market. He bought the house, and he and his daughter went from being homeless to living more comfortably than they ever had together. Soon, Jason asked Lindsay to take on the job of being Hannah's babysitter indefinitely. Lindsay agreed to watch Hannah every day except Fridays, with Hannah getting dropped off as early as 6 a.m. some mornings. In addition to just watching her for the day, Lindsay took Hannah to dance classes on Mondays, washed her clothes, regularly bathed her, and fed Hannah dinner when her father wasn't back to pick her up by supper time. By the time the incident had transpired, Lindsay was with Hannah the majority of the time and effectively acted as a second parent to her, which makes it hard to believe that she would do something to hurt her so badly. Who then could it have been?
If you was to reach out and take a guess, tell me what's happened.
I'm sure she did something bad and got in trouble. She's living mischievous.
This is at least the second time Lindsay has mentioned Hannah being mischievous, which is not a positive characteristic. Lindsay appears to be blaming Hannah for the injuries, which is another big red flag. So caretakers often place blame on the child and may label the child as bad.
Is Jason capable of this? Does he have a temper? Have you ever seen it? Have you ever seen him hit the kids?
No, I haven't. But I have not known him long enough to know that, and I don't go. I've never even been in his house.
Have you ever seen bruises on her?
Yeah, she's bruised all the time.
Have you ever seen any bruises that you've looked at and went,
yeah.
Where?
God, just
I'm concerned with her head.
Yeah.
Have you seen bruises on her head? Look at me, please.
Yeah.
I need to get a good feel for you.
Yes.
Lindsay may have been caught off guard here and may be taking a break from eye contact to ease her stress as she tries to figure out the best way to answer this question. When someone has a lie prepared, they may be more likely to maintain strong eye contact to see if the lie is believed. However, if they need to think or remember something before responding, they may break eye contact.
Okay, have you ever asked her about those bruises on her head?
No.
Why not? And I'm not trying to belittle you.
No, I know. I know. I feel like I haven't done enough.
She does a quick sigh, followed by an anchor point movement, likely 2 indications that she's feeling uncomfortable and trying to release nervous energy. She may feel like she's trapped. If she says that she never noticed any bruises, that makes her look like a poor caregiver. However, if she admits to seeing them, that could also make her look bad, as she never expressed any concern about how Hannah got those injuries, especially the ones to her head.
Yeah, why she never reported it?
I asked her, but I'll say, oh, did you fall? Did you jump off the couch again? Because she jumps off the couch a lot.
Do you know if there's carpet over there at the house?
I've never been in there.
When you say he has a temper, I'm listening.
I've never seen it, but like when we talk about like things that go on the job site or whatever, if the guys get into a fight, like we're friends. He and I are friends. I I'll kill somebody if they hurt my kid. Or like the other day, he got into a fight, I guess, with one of the guys on the job site, and he's like, "You don't want to do that to me." You know what I mean? Just stuff like that. But I think he's even said I have a temper.
Jason's telling us that she gets hurt a lot at your house. That she always comes home with bruises.
That's completely untrue. She comes to my house with bruises.
Okay, so who do we believe?
I know.
How many kids you have?
I have 2 myself, and I just lost one.
Yeah.
I don't know anything other than what I've told you. Like
All right.
I don't know of anything that has happened that
could help us out with this.
Other than I don't know what goes on over there, and he's gone a lot. I take care of her, and I am the one that takes care of her. She comes to my house a lot in dirty clothes, not a bath. I wash her clothes. I make sure she's taken care of. Can't.
Well, here's one.
So you think you're trying to put it on her daddy? That's what it sounded like to me. Dirty clothes and all that.
One thing I'm gonna tell you. If you're trying to, I don't know, play patty cake with the ideas that you don't want to look at him as a bad father, if you didn't kill her, he did. It's as simple as that. It's one or the other.
I didn't.
Well, then, I mean, if you got some things that you think you need to tell us about him, you need to be telling us. He's not going to get Father of the Year, because if you didn't kill her, he did.
I think there's been some things going on at the job. I think he got into big trouble the other day.
Transitioning to just the female investigator is a common tactic. It takes some pressure off the suspect and can cause them to open up during a softer form of interrogation.
For what? A trailer got hit and it could have killed somebody. He parked it on the hill. I think there's some stuff going on, like with him worried about losing his job or his house or whatever.
Yeah. So you think he's got some aggression and stuff he's building up and he's upset over that?
Mm-hmm. If he did hurt.
Yeah.
But if he worked for your husband, you should know exactly what's going on at the job. If not, your husband know exactly what goes on at the job. You mean it might? You just said he could have killed somebody. Why nobody reported that if he just ran somebody over?
I mean, I guess he had to have.
How do you know about him parking that trailer there?
He told me about it.
See?
She continued to drop hints that Hannah's dad had something to do with what happened to her, but without outright saying that this is the case. The detective has clearly stated to her that it was either Lindsay or Jason, so it's not surprising that she would give reasons for why it could have been him. Both innocent and deceptive individuals would likely do this. An innocent person would know that they didn't do it, so it must have been the other person. A deceptive person knows they did do it, so they need to blame the other person if they want to get away with it. Still, detectives weren't quite sure what to think, so they decided to ask Lindsay if she'd be willing to take a polygraph exam, despite them being notoriously unreliable. Expecting her to agree, investigators were taken aback when she actually refused to take the test.
We can get you immediately off the radar screen if you're willing to take a polygraph and go on. We can put our focus everywhere else. Are you willing to do that?
Why would you want me to do that? That's weird.
What?
Because I'm not a lie detector. I'm only taking you at just your word.
I'm all nervous.
It takes all that into consideration. If you had to take one, are you going to pass it or fail it?
I don't know.
What?
I would pass it because I'm telling the truth.
Well, then
I'm nervous.
that's the answer I would be looking for. Nervous doesn't have nothing to do with nothing.
I don't want to do that without a lawyer. Now I'm nervous.
This is not an outright invocation of the right to counsel, but it's close. To stay on the safe side, investigators should cease all questioning until counsel is obtained and present.
Now I'm all nervous. I don't know what to do. I've never been in this situation. I don't know what to do.
I'm just asking. That's all I was doing is asking. I can't give you advice on what to do. I'm just asking.
Polygraphs measure cardiovascular activity, heart rate, blood pressure, respiratory activity, breathing, and electrodermal activity, the sweat glands. The idea behind the polygraph is that perceived threats, such as being asked questions about a crime you're suspected of committing, can affect one's bodily processes, and these processes can be measured. However, some research suggests polygraph exams are not a reliable way to detect deception, as those measurements can be affected by factors other than deception. If someone is extremely worried or nervous that the test will indicate they are lying, even if they're being truthful, this anxiety may be reflected in the results and wrongfully interpreted as deception. On the other hand, someone who is a very savvy liar, such as a psychopath, may feel very confident in themselves, and therefore the polygraph may not show deception when it actually is present. Polygraphs should instead be seen as a tool detectives can use to gather information, along with body language analysis, verbal responses, witness statements, and physical evidence.
Can we get, do you care to sign a consent so we can dump your phone and get the timeline for the text messages and when you call 911? Of course. So that we can have all that. Okay. Let me go get the form real quick and I'll just sign it for me, okay? Okay. All right, thank you.
Shortly after Lindsay signed the consent form that gave police permission to search her phone, she stated that she wanted to leave. With no hard evidence to keep her there, officers had to let her go. Lindsay then waits inside the station for TJ, her husband, who's also being interrogated just a few rooms away.
So what happened this morning, man?
Dude, I ain't got a clue. I wasn't there. Well, I wasn't there when it took place. I was at the office, looked up, the ambulance lights.
How well do you know Jason?
Not real good at all. I met him through an operator buddy of mine that come to work here. We've been looking for people, decent people, trying to get better people. Right. He said, I got a good guy that's decent mechanic, whatnot. So, time for people to cool your heart, and that's probably been a year ago.
Is it pretty reliable?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Any problems with him as far as arguments or not doing what you're supposed to?
She lied. She said, bro, very confrontational. He always getting into it, and he got a temper. This bitch been lying.
Get along with people. Or...
He did 2 days ago about get fired.
Okay.
Wrote a job at Trivet. People are so stupid. That steep street, we got a pipe trailer 40 foot long. He went down and unhooked that trailer on the street like that, right above Route 8, like it's going into a highway if something happens. So he blocked it on the street like that, like an idiot. So he's gonna fire him right there.
Right.
So we've been reprimanding, talking to him yesterday.
TJ's story about Jason almost getting fired is consistent with what Lindsay told investigators. This doesn't mean that everything Lindsay has said is true, but it could indicate that Jason's stress level was higher than usual at the time Hannah was injured. It appears that both Jason and Lindsay were experiencing major stressors around the time Hannah was hurt, with Lindsay having a miscarriage and Jason at risk of losing his job.
So did you see the baby girl? Did you see Hannah laying there when the squad was there, or the squad already took off?
This morning when I walked in, the squad was going, they went in ahead of me and had her in the garage, put her on a couch and was trying to get packets open, and all I did hear was a shake of hearing, and Jason was standing over, they was all huddled around her. I turned the light on, and they said finally a tear rolled out of her eye. That's all they said was there's a tear out of her eye.
You got any questions for us?
Yeah, what's going on? There's something going on.
The baby's in bad shape.
Yeah.
So.
And that's what I'm doing. And then she called me when she was down here and said, hey, they're coming to get a toy. And I'm like,
yeah, we had her.
Straight up, I said, no, I know how y'all watch police movies long enough. I'm like, now you're.
That's a problem. That's a problem. You watch too much police movies.
Yeah, well, I'm not there. I'm not involved. I ain't nothing to do with it. I ain't know what's going on. But I'm like, hope my homeowner's insurance all my up. You know what I mean? So I'm like, damn, what do I do? So I called an attorney. Like, hey, man, this seems weird. Like they're collecting evidence and they ain't even saying nothing. She's very like in a corner. She don't play. She ain't. You can tell. But kids that are messed up from messed up parents, they're not normal kids. She's very like not. She's very introverted, very kid. So I always thought something was wrong with her. Then this happens. She mind starts playing with as if we're falling. Well, she falls all the time.
Right.
TJ gives a very different description of Hannah compared to Lindsay. The conversation with TJ didn't get them any closer to understanding what happened to Hannah. So once investigators were done with him, officers escorted him and his wife out of the police station, and the couple made their way to the hospital to see Hannah. Earlier that morning, detectives had already made their rounds at the hospital getting statements from the victim's family, including Hannah's older sister, Caitlin.
So you're just 37, sir? Okay. Do you currently live in the house?
With my mom.
With your mom? Hannah's your stepsister then?
Hannah's my half sister.
Your half-sister, okay. Do you stay with your father often?
Yeah, weekends and the days that I don't have school.
Is there anything that would make you feel that what happened was done in malice? Was done?
Like she didn't fall?
Yes.
Like it wasn't an accident?
Yes, is what I'm asking.
I mean, she goes to Lindsay's Monday through Thursday, and she goes to a different babysitter on Friday.
Okay.
For some reason, she likes to go to that babysitter more than Lindsay's.
Okay.
That's the only thing I have to say.
Have you ever spoken to Lindsay?
That's all we need to know. I would have wrapped that up. I would have just stood up. I'm like, yep, we got this bitch. Bag her.
I go over there, and because I'm in cosmetology, so I go over there and I do her hair.
Okay.
And she's going out.
What type of person is Lindsay?
She's nice, and she has 2 other kids that are around the same age as Hannah.
Does anything seem odd about her?
I mean, her kids were kind of rambunctious, and she didn't get, mad. She didn't snap at them.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about your dad. What type of guy is he?
My dad is my best friend, and I mean, that was my whole heart. He's been there for me more than anybody else has.
Okay.
Because I've been, these past few years, I've been going through a lot of stuff, and he's always been the one to take care of me and be there for me.
So he's kind of your rock then?
Yeah.
Okay. Like I said, you looked at your dad in the room and you asked him very concerningly that, did she really hit her head? Did she really hit her head? What would make you ask him that?
Because I mean, if the kid's gonna fall and hit their head, it obviously has to be pretty hard for it to start bleeding like that.
True.
So I'm just concerned whether somebody maybe pushed her and made her fall, or somebody hit her and made her fall, or somebody hit her and just hit her and made her hit her head and hurt her like that.
Did you change your clothes? Help her change her clothes or anything?
Gave her a bath Saturday.
Did you see marks on her?
I mean, not like marks. I mean, she probably had some bruises on her legs or something.
Okay. Did she have bruises on her neck or her chest?
She did have a bruise on her chest right here.
She had one bruise on her chest or several?
One, I think I just seen
Yeah.
one greenish brown bruise.
Next, David Latham, Hannah's grandfather, who she spent every other weekend with, provided some interesting insight into his final interactions with her.
Have you ever noticed any kind of change in her?
Yes.
You have?
In the last few weeks, I was telling my family that I thought maybe she didn't like this babysitter. She had 2 marks on her arm, which were probably still there because I noticed it over the weekend. I got fingerprint marks, and I asked her. And, she's 3, she speaks pretty good, and she told me babysitter. And I noticed there was a bruise on her chest. And that last weekend I had her, which was 2 weekends ago, I noticed there was a bruise around here on her, and I asked her about that, and she said babysitter.
I guess she's been going to Lindsay for 8 months.
I've been seeing bruises on her pretty much the whole 8 months.
The whole 8 months?
Pretty much here and there, but I've been taking it, okay, little kid, fall down, this time you get a bruise here and a bruise here.
Have you ever asked Jason,
I've asked him several times. What's up? Is this babysitter a good babysitter? And I told him, I said, I've asked her, I saw a bruise on her, and I said, he says, yeah, they had another daughter close to her age, and they rough house, there's other kids, and
that's what the babysitter's relaying to Jason?
I assume.
She ever say anything to her dad hurts her?
No, she loved her dad.
Investigators also spoke with Jason.
Has Hannah ever told you anything about Lindsay?
I mean, there's times that she says she doesn't want to go, or she doesn't want me to leave her. She never wants me to leave her. I don't care where it's. I don't care if it's with my daughter or Lindsay or Sandy. That little girl's been with me since the day she's been born. So I'm pretty much all she knows other than her sister. So she never wants me to leave her.
But she never says she spanks me or she's rough with me.
There was one time that Vivian, Lindsay's daughter, and Hannah, they were playing on a crib, and she fell and hit her chin. And she didn't want to tell me that she was climbing on the crib because she wasn't supposed to. Lindsay told me. And I asked her, I said, what happened? She said, Lindsay hit me. And I'm like, Hannah, what happened? She said, I was playing on the crib.
Okay.
So I'm
assuming you can normally get to the truth with her.
right away.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the only time she's ever said that.
Okay.
She just didn't want to get in trouble because she was just told the day before not to climb on the crib.
Okay.
And then her and Lindsay's oldest one was climbing on the crib. So Lindsay took it down. They took the crib down.
It's possible that Hannah only changed her story because she felt like her dad didn't believe her. Sometimes parents may ignore red flags like this because they need to justify their choices. This can be due to a psychological concept known as confirmation bias, which is how people search for information that confirms their beliefs, while they discount anything that goes against those beliefs. If Jason believes that Lindsay is a good caregiver, he may have been more likely to discount what Hannah said about Lindsay hitting her, as he knows a good caregiver wouldn't do that.
You started making a comment before that she said that she's told you about the past 3 weeks that her head is hurt.
Yeah, she'd point to her head. She's like, Daddy, my head hurts. And I thought maybe she was playing hard or whatever, had a headache. But then I thought it was for attention because she was like, Daddy, my head hurts. Will you kiss it? And I kissed it. And then she's like, that's better, thanks. And she went and played.
How often would she tell you that?
She's probably told me that 3 times. And I even asked the neurosurgeon. I told him, I said, this is what she told me. I said, is this something that could have been happening or going on within the last few weeks? You know what I mean? And he said, no. He said that the trauma that she had to her head happened within the last few hours. I know it didn't happen at my house because we fell asleep on the couch. She woke up on the couch. And then Lindsay said she fell.
With all of this in mind, investigators weren't quite done with Lindsay yet. It wasn't long before police were at her front door again. 2 detectives paid a visit to Lindsay's home around 9 a.m. the very next morning and summoned her to the station. They explained that they wanted to clarify some details of her story and talk with her a little more about Jason. Initially, Lindsay told detectives that she couldn't come to the station right away, since no one would be available to watch her daughters until later that afternoon. However, the officers insisted that Lindsay needed to come with them immediately. Just a little while later, Lindsay and her 2 daughters were in her van, following officers down to the police station. Once in the interrogation room, investigators got to questioning Lindsay more about Hannah. Lindsay's explanation of what had happened that day simply wasn't matching up to the reality of Hannah's injuries. In order to possibly clear Lindsay's name, detectives needed an explanation for every single injury found on Hannah's body the day she was admitted into the hospital.
We're going to show you some pictures.
Okay.
But, so we just kind of want you to point out all the bruises and all the small little nicks and scratches that you were aware of.
Gotcha.
And exactly how they happened and all that stuff. Okay.
Yes.
We got quite a few.
Okay.
They may or may not be easy to look at,
Okay.
Asking a non-parent caregiver to explain every small scratch, scrape, and bruise is an interesting tactic. This is a way to elicit both conflicting statements and prior knowledge, both useful depending on which direction the investigation goes, determining whether or not this is a case of aggravated assault versus criminal gross negligence.
Exactly where she fell and on her chin. She didn't even, her hand didn't even hit. Like what she was doing, and I can show you how she was running like this, and then looked back and went like that. Literally.
Did she slide?
No, it was just bam. Bam.
When describing the hit, her hands and verbal bam don't line up. Mismatched verbal and physical gestures are a red flag that the words from her brain aren't matching up with her actions, and there is some cognitive disconnect often associated with dishonesty.
Yeah. She got right back up and kept running. I said, "Hey, are you okay? I'm okay."
So all of these small little bruises and the ones on the chin.
Yes, I know about those right there.
And even the one on the neck.
Yes, I remember the one on the chin. Yep.
And the neck there.
Yep.
That's all
those.
from that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So she got fucking 5 bruises from one fall.
Up under her chin like that. So she would have been extended pretty far.
She went like that. Yeah.
Okay. And what day did this happen?
Tuesday.
Okay. This week.
Yes.
Okay.
Tuesday when it was nice out. It was
Is that the same day?
noon, 11.
Okay.
11 that morning. We went out before lunch.
Okay.
But
Same
the
day the
daddy.
train?
No, the train was Wednesday.
One day, okay.
Yeah.
So which side did she fall on Wednesday when she fell off the train?
Her right.
Her right side.
Yes, she smacked her face on the right.
Her right side on the train?
Yeah, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Her right side, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
I'm sorry. I'm trying
Okay,
to
no,
think
you're
of
fine.
everything
You're
that's.
fine. So it's probably that wasn't the train then?
Is that the
Because
left
that's on
side?
her left
Oh,
side.
yeah. I obviously cannot tell my right from my left.
No, it's.
Yeah,
But
I
you're
don't
sure, but you're sure that she fell on her right side off the train?
All right, ain't no way.
Okay.
I'm positive.
Positive. Okay. All right.
So I didn't actually see the train. I haven't
Damn.
seen the train. How tall is the train?
About that high off the ground. And she
Okay.
was standing up on it,
Yeah.
doing the surfing thing.
Yeah.
And it went out from the side and she went down like that. With, her arms back.
So she was wait. She hit her face on the train, or she was standing on the train and it went from under her feet and she hit her face on the ground. I'm not understanding what you're saying. I couldn't be no detective. Cause bitch, you gonna stop lying right here, right now.
And smacked.
Smacked the right side of her face?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I freaked out and ran out there. I'm like, "Are you okay?" She jumped back up and she said, "Yeah, I'm fine." I said, "Well, go put ice on it. Let's sit down and play Barbie."
What was she complaining of?
Headache. Her head hurt.
Jason was also asked about this incident.
Any type of falls, injuries to your daughter, anything right then?
She told me that she got up on that toy and the toy came out from under her and she hit her face on the handlebar and it gave her a black eye.
Okay. She tell you what kind of toy it was?
It was a little 4-wheel plastic bike, I guess, or maybe like a little scooter type deal, little toddler toy they can roll herself around on.
Okay. And that's what she actually slipped on?
That's what, yeah, it was a little train. And she stood up on the seat. Instead of sitting on it, she stood up on it.
Okay.
As soon as she stood up on it, Lindsay said it kicked out from under her. She said she didn't have time to get up.
So the eye that you
Wait, what?
She tell you what kind of toy it was?
It was a little 4-wheel plastic bike, I guess, or maybe like a little scooter type deal, little toddler toy they can roll herself around on.
Okay. And that's what she actually slipped on?
That's what, yeah, it was a little train. And she stood up on the seat. Instead of sitting on it, she stood up on it.
Okay.
As soon as she stood up on it, Lindsay said it kicked out from under her. She said she didn't have time to get up.
So the eye that you were.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's
You
her left
noticed the
side.
left
I don't
side.
even know.
Right. Yeah.
It is her left. That's she fell on her face on the side off the choo-choo train. I'm not, the pictures and mirroring is not good for me.
Well, that's how she would be looking at you. Yeah. But that's you were.
You think she slipped up? Or she meant to say that maybe she could have kicked it from under her.
If you were putting ice on her face, obviously.
It was, yeah, it was
That's
the
how
left
you've been
side. I'm
looking at
sorry.
it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm so
Okay,
like.
that's fine.
She
Yeah.
kept saying right, and she's saying
So when
love.
she fell off the train,
Yes, she did. Yep.
she hit her face.
Yep.
Now you're saying that it's the left side of
Yeah, I was thinking because she fell to the left.
This is the first change Lindsay made to her story. However, it won't by any means be the last. Be warned, these changes only get more graphic and tell a steadily more horrifying story.
You were saying the right side. None of this was on her right side from the train, you're saying?
No, that's from the gravel.
Okay.
She literally bit it.
Okay.
Full force running.
And you said when she totally bit it, her head was going down towards the ground.
Yeah, she smacked her chin.
Her chin right here?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's a problem. There's no mark directly on the point of her chin. We're looking
There's
at marks.
very little to no bruising right here in the middle. It's on the left
Yeah.
and on the right.
Like I said, I was far away too. I
And
was way
then-
behind them, so.
And then up underneath.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So when people fall,
You're gonna have bruising on the sharp points, okay?
Yeah.
So it's gonna be this point, none here, and then some here. Or if you're over here, you're gonna have some here.
And she could
Or
have.
you'll
I don't know.
some-
I
Or
honestly,
you'll have some
I was
here.
just coming out of the door and
If
then
you
took
fall
off.
straight forward, you're not gonna have.
Adding the word honestly to her statement is known as a perception qualifier, the purpose of which is to make one's statement sound more credible. Detectives will be listening for qualifiers, but they're generally only seen as red flags if there are multiple qualifiers used within a short period of time.
Bruising over here, and none in the middle.
Yeah.
And then
Bruising would have been here, and up underneath there would have been no bruising.
that's a soft spot that your body naturally protects. 'Cause it's
Yeah.
the way your body.
That's why it's tucked in like
Why it's
that.
tucked
Yeah.
in. And that's where we're getting, that's why we wanted to come down and fill in some of these holes.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, honestly, I've been pretty honest with you this morning, a lot of these aren't adding up to a fall in the gravel.
Yeah.
And here's another thing on the chest. Once again, you don't have to be a doctor. You've got to be a mom.
Yeah.
Or a dad. Okay. You see that bruise?
Mm-hmm.
What's that kind of look like?
Is it older?
Older. Yeah. Older. There's some yellowing all through here, and then see this here?
Mm-hmm.
That looks. What would you say?
Older.
To me, that looks brand new.
Oh, okay.
That looks newer than even.
Okay.
these.
Yeah. See, I don't know.
So what it kind of looks like is that these are all from a different time.
Oh, okay.
She is wild. I don't think that she's been. I really don't think that she's been hurt.
Like I said, is a referral statement intended to raise someone's belief in a story, because the more you repeat something, the more other people believe it. She's also significantly increased her hair flipping, moving, and face stroking, all of which are self-soothing techniques associated with anxiety and deception.
Now this is from a senior neurologist, okay?
Yeah.
He's telling us that the brain injury that she sustained was absolutely not 24 hours prior or even an hour prior.
Oh.
The injury that caused this, or the incident that caused this brain injury was immediate. So whatever happened did not happen prior to her getting to your house. It was absolutely instant.
Okay? So, and if you believe us that it's instant, you're agreeing that, okay, she fell because she got hit or something happened. Something caused this, okay, in her head. She fell because of that. All right? What caused that?
What accident caused this?
She fell in the door and hit the concrete step. She
When?
tripped. Thursday morning.
Walking into the house?
Yes. So when I opened up the door, she was coming through and she slipped on that concrete step and the metal part. She hit the metal part on her eye.
Which door?
And then the
back
one,
door
yeah,
into the
when
house?
going into the house, the carpet. And so I got her back up and she stood up and looked up at me and did say, "I want donut and couch," and then collapsed.
Lindsay changed her story for a second time in an attempt to justify the chilling injuries Hannah suffered to her eye. To detectives, Lindsay had started showing signs of being a habitual liar. It's possible that she could have a personality disorder, such as antisocial or narcissistic personality disorder, which would explain why she lied so convincingly. Even still, detectives didn't seem to be buying into her story.
So then she gets up. Is the stuff about, do you want to go back to bed or what? Is all that true? Did she ask-
Yeah, she got back up and
she
looked at
got
me and
up,
said, "Donut, I want butter
asked for a
and couch."
donut.
Yeah.
Okay, and then what happened? And they collapsed. Okay.
And I thought she was having a seizure. I didn't think that was her. I thought that the Wednesday was her.
Listen, that's not what happened.
The detective interrupts her when she tries to claim she thought it was a seizure. The more someone tells a lie, the more confident they may become about it. And the detective doesn't want that to happen here. Instead, he wants to shake Lindsay's confidence so that she'll continue to get closer to confessing what really happened to Hannah.
It is, I promise.
No, that's not what happened.
When Lindsay makes this declarative statement, one of her palms is up while the other is facing down. This could indicate that she may feel conflicted about what she is saying, as it is an unconfident body position. If she'd been feeling confident in her statement, both palms would likely have been down.
It is.
The doctor said when this injury occurred, she was out. We've come a long way. We got past that, okay?
Yeah.
You're right there. You're right there.
Confrontation with evidence counter to a suspect's story is commonly employed by the Reed interrogation method. What's interesting here is the investigators using medical forensic evidence in this case. Often it's crime scene or statement evidence, so this is interesting to see in an interrogation.
Thank you.
When I opened the door, I dropped her. And I slipped and fell.
Tell us what happened.
So I slipped on her blanket when I opened the door.
So if that's what really happened, why would you have to change that from that to that? She fell to I fell, we fell. Bitch, stop lying. You did something to that baby. Confess. Hurry up, bitch.
And we both went down, and she hit that concrete step really hard.
Where at? On her head?
On her face,
Where?
yeah, because I was holding her on the left side. And when I slipped, it hit her side.
But you said it was the right
She
side.
hit my head on the door coming down, but she smacked her face.
So y'all did all that because you... Stop making me mad. She making me mad. I don't like being mad. Yo, this though was a lie. She said that she opened the door and let her walk in front. She was in front of her, she fell. That was the story she said at first. Now she walked and you holding her now. Like, come on, come on, come on, come on.
Her head really hard on that concrete step.
Okay, and then what happened?
We got up. I tried to get her to come to. She did ask me for a donut and couch out in the garage, not inside, but she...
What the fuck? So she passed out right then and there. But she asked you, can she have a donut? When did you ask her, did she want to go to bed? Alright.
We did when we first...
Yo, just grab this bitch, handcuff her, book the bitch. End of the story. Hey, if I was a detective, all my cases would be in 15 minutes, because I'm booking shit.
Just walked in and Jason walked out. She said,
So now you're saying she asked that before?
yeah. And I fell and she fell.
Where were you at when you fell?
Against the door, trying to get the door open. I was holding her. The blanket was kind of like falling because he had handed her to me, and I put her down, and then I picked her. No, he put her down, and when he walked out the door, I picked her up with the blanket, and it got tangled up. And when I opened up the door, it got tangled, and I slipped.
Finding her revised answer to still be unsatisfactory, Lindsay changes her story yet again. This is perhaps the most disturbing version since it describes what must have been a very painful event for Hannah. Still, this version doesn't make logical sense. If it truly were an accident, Lindsay would have had no need to lie about it the entire time.
Exactly.
Hannah was someone she took care of almost as frequently as her own biological children. If she was responsible for an accident that led to Hannah's death, it's reasonable to expect that Lindsay would feel tremendous guilt and express remorse over what happened. However, she's not done this yet, which could suggest that it wasn't an accident.
Back to under the chin here. This absolutely did not happen from a fall on a flat driveway. No. Okay?
Yeah. I believe you.
Okay.
How'd that happen?
So what happened to her neck?
I do not know. I thought it was the gravel in the ball.
Yeah,
Well,
it wasn't.
we remember we went through this and you told us how you agreed with us that some of this stuff is
Yeah,
older.
of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's the exact same size as the fresh ones. And they look very similar.
Mm-hmm.
So either has she fallen on that very same gravel a couple of times, different stages?
It could be. I don't know.
Or-
They have gravel at his house too.
Okay.
I think you know about these two.
Yeah.
I don't know about this.
I think you do.
I don't. I honestly don't.
I'm positive you do.
Yeah.
Why would you think I know about him?
Because you just lied to us. How many times about?
Lie.
Well,
Well, you are.
You
We've
do.
given you how many times to tell us
Right.
what happened with the fall. Okay?
can you see how that doesn't look good?
Yeah.
And we understand you called for help.
Bring the pressure on this
We're not
bitch.
mad at you or anything. We just want to know what happened. We want to know everything that happened. We want to know how that happened. We want to know how that happened. We want to
Yeah.
know how the fingers, or these things happened.
Hold
This
on.
morning, the doctors called and said, tell us what happened, what you're being told.
Yeah.
Man, I thought I was gonna fly pressure this hoe.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know anything about that. I really don't.
And here's another thing, okay? Dad obviously, every time she comes home with a new scrape or bruise,
Mm-hmm.
Dad asks her, what happened?
Yeah.
I know you told him,
Yeah.
But he's doing what any other dad would say.
Of course.
So what is she telling Dad whenever he says, what happened here? What happened there? What happened here? What's the one word or one thing she is saying?
I don't know.
Babysitter.
This statement isn't exactly true. As we heard earlier, that statement actually came from David, Hannah's grandfather.
Yeah,
Perhaps the
but
detectives are using Jason to elicit an...
But the daddy also said she said that bitch name. So this ain't really all the way cap. It's some cap, but not all the way cap. No, don't do that baby like that.
Emotional response based off of the personal relationship he had with Lindsay.
I really don't know what to say.
Start with these. How do these get here?
What do you mean you don't know what to say? What do you mean you don't know what to say? If you ain't do it, I don't know why they said my name. I don't know why it must be talking about the other babysitter they're going to on Fridays or something. If that really ain't you. You don't know what to say because, bitch, you guilty. Lock this bitch, Booker. Fuck.
I didn't do that. I don't know.
Okay.
I really didn't do that. I don't know.
How does this happen?
I slapped her upside the head.
With what?
My hand.
Open, closed?
Yeah, open.
When Lindsay shrugs here, only one shoulder goes up. According to body language analysis, one shoulder shrug indicates that the person isn't confident with their response. So, even though this is a pretty huge admission for Lindsay to make during such a serious investigation, could she still be hiding something? She may think that if she's honest about a relatively smaller incident, investigators will see her as honest.
I smack her
and believe her
upside the
story
head.
about the big incident.
What?
The investigators remain calm and non-judgmental as she admits to why she slapped Hannah. If they had a strong reaction, she would be less likely to admit to doing anything else.
What caused that?
She took all of the... I don't know why she was in trouble. She took all the ketchup out and squirted it into the toilet while I wasn't looking.
That's frustrating.
And I'm like, Hannah!
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. What else had she done that day? Is this like a culmination of things building up?
Mischievous.
What day was that?
Was it
This
last
week?
week? This week?
This week? Early this week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I didn't think that I hurt her. I really didn't.
After she changed several aspects of her story, Lindsay eventually began to admit that she actually was the reason behind some of the wounds found all over Hannah's body. After an hour of digging, investigators were finally striking the answers they were looking for. Answers that coincided with Hannah's injuries.
Oh, so what caused this?
I smacked her on the chin for doing the ketchup. It was the same thing.
Okay. So this is the same incident.
Yeah.
Tell us about this. Because this is not a smack. I just want to tell you right now, this is not a deep bone contusion from an open-handed smack. Okay? Knowing that.
I didn't.
No,
I wasn't like that.
listen. Knowing that we know that, what happened here?
The same thing. It was the same incident.
Tell us though, what happened? These specific bruises.
When I caught her doing the ketchup. I took it away, and I put her on the potty because I think she had to go pee anyway. And I said, Hannah, you can't do the ketchup. And I got mad. I just slapped her upside the head and went like that.
Closed?
Yeah, like that.
How many times? Don't say once.
Yeah,
Because look, bruise.
Yeah,
bruise.
yeah.
Okay. Does he give you permission to discipline or, spank and stuff? Okay.
Which I don't really spank. I don't even know why I was mad that day.
So these were closed fists, like uppercuts?
Yeah.
Okay. And this was an open-handed smack? Was it really open-handed?
Yeah. Yeah.
The bruise?
Why the fuck is she uppercutting this baby? Talking about a couple times. Bro, so she dead ass said, girl, get out that ketchup. Like, bro, she a hoe, bro. Hey, she a hoe. She a hoe. She a hoe.
Honestly.
Listen.
No, I believe you.
Do you see the pattern here?
Yes.
Deny.
How about this big one?
What the fuck?
I did not touch her chest. I'm definitely telling you the most positive truth. I did not touch her chest.
Okay. So look,
Bro.
But I was mad that day.
let's look at this.
Hey, book this hoe already,
We
man.
also, sorry to interrupt. We also.
I don't even need to get into much, none of that. Like, don't even tell me no more. Just, you uppercutted this fucking baby. I get this bitch to share.
Tell you what these are.
Yeah.
They're,
What the fuck?
in all these cases, they're consistent. I mean, you can literally take 100 of them and put them up on the board right here, and they're all going to have the same exact bruises. And anyone who knows what they're talking about or what they're looking at will say, this is this, this is this, this is this, this is this.
That's up to you, okay? We want to know what happened.
Yeah.
That's why I asked you if he gives you permission to
That's
just.
what we're trying to figure out.
Okay. I mean, what's discipline and what's not. Look, she's not yours.
Right.
Well,
Honestly, I don't like kids that aren't mine either. Does that make me a bad person? I really
I
don't.
do like kids that are mine.
Yeah.
I have a
Well,
lot.
me and you are
I just-
different then.
I had a lot of. I've had some things going on. I had a miscarriage 2 weeks ago. That was really traumatic, and I took
How
care
far
of 4
along were
days.
you?
14 weeks.
How long ago was this?
Right at the end of February.
Have you been trying to have another one? Been having a hard time?
Damn, so you had that, so you get mad at that baby because that baby made it. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Do you know about her
This is
mother?
the second
She had.
miscarriage.
Do you know about her mother? You
Oh,
know
yeah.
anything about the mother?
Yeah.
Does that piss you off?
Yes, and I
This
don't know
is
why
what
I
I'll do.
hurt her. I don't know why I even slapped her or was even
No, I'm
mad.
talking
I know
about
why I was. It was me.
Does her mother piss you off?
Yes. Hardcore because I
Because
would
you're
never.
trying to have a child. Trust me, I know. I've gone through this.
Investigators are reinforcing the sense of sincerity to keep Lindsay open and talking.
I went through this. Me and my wife went through this for like 7 years, and you see all these heads popping out these kids that can't
Yep.
take care of them and don't even want them. Pisses you
And
off.
I don't do anything when I'm pregnant. Not that I drink or smoke or anything anyway, but like, I won't even like drink coffee when I'm pregnant.
Yep.
I've been having bad times.
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
You have.
Your husband, what is it, fiance?
We got married, but we didn't sign a marriage certificate.
Your husband's never home.
He tries, but yeah, I'm by myself all the
And he's
time.
It's still frustrating.
With her dad?
No.
They don't work together?
They do, but like they don't.
They don't go out.
There's so
They
many
don't-
different crews.
They don't hit a bar, nothing after.
No, he
work,
does
nothing?
though.
Who does?
TJ every once
Okay,
in a while.
So you're
Does that
at
make
home
you mad?
longer.
Yeah.
The consented search of her phone yielded proof that her and her husband's marriage was not as good as she tried to make it seem to detectives. The couple generally argued over text message to refrain from exposing their daughters to their myriad of problems. In reality, they fought quite frequently. Just 2 days before the incident, Lindsay had found TJ in their garage drinking with colleagues after work, instead of spending his very limited free time with her and their daughters. Needless to say, Lindsay was outraged at this show of inconsideration. They
the
bickered about this
fuck?
via text message for days straight, leading up to the incident. Lindsay may have felt like she had very little control over her problems with TJ, his drinking, and her struggles with getting pregnant. But the one thing she did have control over was the kids. She may have felt like she could exert her power over them when she didn't have power or control in other situations in her life. She could also dole out whatever punishment she saw fit, and no one would intervene.
But I love babysitting. I love my life. I really do. I want another kid. I want to watch more kids.
Do you know, have you ever had with your other ones postpartum depression or anything like that?
Big time.
I don't know when that starts,
Big time.
but
The second one really bad.
The mention of postpartum depression is part of the Reed technique method to shift blame from Lindsay towards something else. In this case, the circumstances of the miscarriage.
And you're being honest with this,
Yeah.
with everything. The hard part is just saying it out loud, because you probably haven't even said it out loud yet, right? You told DJ about it, about how you feel, about maybe going too far with Hannah?
it's too much. It's too much on one person.
It was a
You
lot.
got it out, okay? Let's finish it. Let's get it all the way through, okay?
It's probably the same incident. Was it? Was it the same incident?
What happened?
Hannah, you know better.
Do we
I
know
didn't mean
that?
to hurt her. I wasn't even trying to hurt her. I was trying to get her
Well,
attention.
this
Like, you
stuff
can't.
didn't hurt her. This stuff's not what hurt her.
the
I
phone.
mean, it may have hurt, obviously, but she's
Yeah.
being disciplined.
And I'm not like that. I really am not an aggressive person. I've never even like.
Well, normally, but these aren't normal circumstances.
No, I'm not normal right now.
No.
I'm not.
No.
The detective is downplaying the injuries to make it easier for Lindsay to keep talking and admit to what really caused Hannah's traumatic brain injury. Her story is coming apart piece by piece as she continues to fold under the pressure of the interrogation.
Fresh to this hoe.
End of February, you have the miscarriage. Okay, these are at different stages of healing. Was there other times where you've got her in the chest, where some are healing and some aren't?
No, but I remember one morning she was.
What was that you just did?
I just kind of like squeezed her when I picked her up, like, because Jason was late, and that morning he
And
was.
that's what these are.
Yeah, probably.
These are little pinch bruises.
Yeah, where I squeezed her from.
The shirt does that.
Because Jason was like, no, I gotta go, I'm in a hurry, because she kept wanting to give him more kisses, which is normal. He's like, will you grab her? I gotta go.
Yeah.
So I remember grabbing her up and squeezing her like, Hannah, you gotta stop.
Okay.
Your dad's gotta go.
Okay.
I remember doing that.
Lindsay admits that the bruises on Hannah's shoulders were a product of her handling the toddler roughly. At this point, she's told the investigators about almost all the bruises and scratches found on Hannah's body. All but the one that ultimately sent her to the hospital.
And now that we're being honest, we got everything out on the table, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about when she fell into her head.
The interrogator is developing the narrative at this point and reinforcing the first part of the confession.
Because
not the fall.
Listen.
No, I'm honestly telling you.
Were you mad when he dropped her off?
No. Not at all.
Did something happen Thursday morning?
No.
That made you mad?
No.
Because, I mean,
No.
it's.
Not at
It
all.
sounds-
Not one thing.
I mean, the fall, I don't want to say convenient, but now that you're being honest with us, now that you're telling us everything, and we know, we kind of have an idea of your mindset.
The fall did happen.
You've
Because I
been
hurt
through
myself too. I bruised myself right here trying to catch myself.
Okay, so tell us exactly.
Bruised myself
Yeah.
right here trying to catch myself.
Can I see your knuckles?
Yeah.
On the palm of the hand.
Yeah, right there.
Did you hit her in the head with it?
No. No, not at all. No.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Because here's the thing.
I'm dead.
That absolutely matches with what we're dealing with.
The fall is not what knocked her unconscious. What knocked her unconscious?
It's really not.
I did not. I would never hurt anybody that bad. We did fall.
Did
we
you shake
fell.
her?
Yeah. Because I was trying to get her to come too.
How hard?
Like,
No,
Hannah,
I mean, prior to her passing out. Is that what caused this? Here's the thing. I don't think that you're strong enough or big enough to strike her
No.
to cause this damage.
No,
and I
I
don't
never
think the
did
doctor would either.
No, I didn't hit her
So,
Thursday at all.
I believe you.
Yeah, we
I
fell.
believe that you did not hit her.
Yeah.
Tell me what happened.
We fell. She smacked her head. We got up and I shook her, trying to get her to come too.
I'm talking, this takes a shaking.
And I remember like putting her on my thing, I sat down like this on the floor. I was like holding her, like spread like her legs over like that. I'm like, Hannah, wake up, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, do you want some juice? What's wrong with you? Why aren't you waking up? You're
What
up.
did she do to make you shake?
You want some juice? What the fuck? What does this bitch think she is, Kevin Hart? You want some juice? I'll make you some juice from scratch. What the, bro? Get the fuck out of here, bro. Book this bitch, man.
She wasn't answering me.
No, I'm not talking about.
This is
I'm
before
not-
the fall you're talking. Before she would have been unconscious. Something had to have happened.
Tell us what happened.
Well, so she didn't want him to go to work. And he's like, I gotta go. So he rushed out, and I was like, Hannah, you can't do that. Daddy's gotta go to work.
You shook her.
Yeah. I shook her, and I remember picking her up and squeezing her, and we did fall. But she did ask me for donut and couch before I.
How hard did you shake her? Like, what was the shake? What was?
She was in trouble.
Show me. Yeah. And you were angry.
Yeah.
This is the answer detectives have been looking for. According to Lindsay, she aggressively shook Hannah before she fell unconscious, which was likely what caused her cranial injury and subsequent fainting spell.
So how many times did you shake her?
How long?
How many seconds?
How many seconds?
I mean, just enough to where
Hannah, you know better than to do that. Why would you do that? Your dad's late. We can't do that. You know better than that. What are we going to do tomorrow morning?
Like until she's whining, until she stops whining?
Yeah. I mean, it was a...
You shook her until she stopped whining?
When I picked her up?
What did her face look like when you picked her up after she stopped whining?
Did she stop whining?
Yeah.
So you shook her for about 5 seconds. You picked her up. Then you walk in the house.
Killed that
That's when you
fucking
noticed She
baby.
was unconscious.
Yeah. Well, we fell. We did fall. I'm not lying
Why
about
did
that.
you fall?
Because I slipped on the blanket and the stuff.
Did
We
you,
did
like,
fall.
snatch her up real quick and going in the house because you were angry still? Is that what caused you to fall, you think?
Fall.
Probably. Yeah. Because I was doing it quickly.
This story that Lindsay tells detectives is particularly interesting because according to Jason, there was an incident at some point in December 2017 where Lindsay called him at work to say that she had just taken Hannah to urgent care. Her story then has some similarities to the one that Lindsay has just told detectives. At the time, she claimed that Hannah had tripped over her blanket when leaving the kitchen and hit her face on the concrete floor. However, this incident didn't appear on Hannah's records because, according to Jason, Lindsay claimed to have checked Hannah in under her own daughter's name in order to have her insurance pay for the visit to the doctor. Though he said that Lindsay told him Hannah was medically cleared, Jason never saw any paperwork. However, the little girl had 2 black eyes, a lump between her eyebrows and on her nose was swollen. Around this same time, Lindsay's internet history shows that she had Googled how to watch a toddler who might have a concussion. Still, what is most interesting about all of this is that the police checked Lindsay's daughter's medical history, and there was no record of the visit. In fact, according to her medical history, Lindsay's daughter hadn't been seen by a doctor since November 2016. There was also no medical entries at the hospital under Hannah's name for this incident.
So when you got up, you noticed she was unconscious?
What the
From the fall?
fuck?
Yes.
No. The fall's not what rendered her unconscious.
Well, the shake might have, but I didn't notice that. I just picked her up.
She stopped whining
That's
while
what
you
I'm
were
saying.
shaking.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
You had a hold of her and you don't know if she's conscious or not.
I didn't.
You fall down.
I didn't think
she
that
hits the ground.
And you
she's
shook her some more, trying to wake her up.
Yeah.
Lindsay confessed to having physically struck Hannah on multiple occasions in the week leading up to her death, including slapping and hitting Hannah on the head, uppercutting Hannah on the chin with a closed fist, poking her in the chest hard enough to leave bruises, and grabbing and squeezing her tightly.
Are you sorry? I mean,
Are you kidding me?
yeah. Now that you've laid it all out,
I just cried.
you feel responsible for everything that happened.
What would you say to Dad if you could talk to him right now?
I'm sorry.
Crying is usually taken as an inference of guilt during interrogations. But this late in the game, it's not something investigators need to develop at this point, as they've already got a full confession. But a question remains: why?
What would you say if he asked why?
Lonely and frustrated and sad.
I know what he would probably ask. I want to ask you, why her? Why he,
Because of the mischievous stuff. The other ones don't do
why
that.
he's gonna want to know why my daughter. Out of the 4 that's there, why my daughter?
Interestingly, police spoke with parents of children who Lindsay also babysat, and according to one person whose child had been in Lindsay's care for a year and a half, they never noticed any injuries on their child. Another person whose daughter was also looked after by Lindsay for a year said that their child never had any bruises or complained of being hurt.
What I just said. Just some of the mischievous things and frustration. I don't know.
Okay.
Following this interrogation, Lindsay was escorted out of the interrogation room, arrested, and booked into jail. Hannah Weshy never recovered from her injuries and passed away in the hospital 9 days later, on March 18th, from what doctors called tremendous brain damage. Her death would officially turn this case into a homicide investigation. After she's told she's under arrest, Lindsay oddly asks if there are a bunch of people back there, and if she's going to be embarrassed. This may be a sign of her narcissistic traits. She appears to care more about what other people will think of her, rather than about the little girl she took care of for months. We spoke to someone who knew Lindsay personally, and they shared their opinion on a very different side of Lindsay than the one seen in interrogation. It's important to note that any personal opinions shared belong to the individual and therefore do not reflect Iwu.
So I know Lindsay because she dated my brother, and she dated him for years. She was the matron of honor in my dad's wedding, and my family, we love her. We love her like she's family still, because she is the sweetest person. Anyone that knows me, that knows her, if I've posted, they've commented, and they've all said the same thing. There's no way Lindsay could have done that.
As shocking as this case already is, perhaps the most intriguing aspect is actually Lindsay's trial, which would occur a year later in April of 2019. The ordeal lasted 8 days, and daring medical personnel who treated Hannah testified to the fact that Hannah's head injury would have immediately preceded her falling unconscious, and therefore must have been sustained at Lindsay's house. Footage of the interrogations was also played for the jurors, including the second interrogation where Lindsay repeatedly lied to detectives and ultimately admitted to being overwhelmed with Hannah. In a surprising twist, despite her detailed confession, Lindsay took the stand at her trial and vehemently denied having harmed Hannah at all during the day or week of the incident. She proceeded to claim that she was coerced into making false confessions because the detectives were being pushy and insinuating that Jason would take the fall if she didn't admit to something. In front of the jury, Lindsay insisted that Hannah did indeed just spontaneously pass out that morning. Not only that, but she asserted that everything else she'd told detectives, from the instances of her angrily hitting Hannah to Hannah squirting the ketchup in the toilet, was all a lie she made up to protect everybody else. She didn't think she would actually get in trouble for those things, since they were all simply instances of what she referred to as discipline. Despite Lindsay's argument, there were a lot more factors working against her.
I don't see her ever being abusive. Do I see her disciplining a child? I can't imagine her spanking a child. I could see her doing timeout or something like that because she was a teacher. I can't imagine what could have gone wrong. I don't even see her having a bad day that would warrant what they are saying she did.
Jason had readily agreed to take a polygraph test and passed, while Lindsay refused to take hers. Despite being notoriously unreliable, her refusal made it look like she had something to hide. There were also old text messages from Lindsay claiming that she was—
What do you mean? If it's only two people that could have did it, the daddy or her. The daddy passed his lie detector test, and she don't want to take hers, so the bitch lying. Simple as that.
Was concerned about the possibility of Jason moving in next door and dumping his daughter on her all the time. The angry messages between her and her husband that week didn't make her case any better. She griped about how Jason was regularly behind on a couple $100s of her childcare payments. Then, of course, there were the pictures of the injuries that littered Hannah's body. The same injuries that made seasoned medical professionals sick to their stomachs. Jason testified that, to his knowledge, the bruises found on Hannah's ear, as well as the back and left side of her head, were not present when he dropped her at Lindsay's house the morning of March 8th. Jurors deliberated for 12 hours. When all was said and done, Lindsay Parton was found guilty of 4 counts of child endangerment, 1 count of involuntary manslaughter, and of the felony murder of 3-year-old Hannah Weshy. Lindsay was sentenced on May 9th, 2019 to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 15 years, plus 3 years for the count of felony child endangerment, which totaled at least 18 years in prison. But the case doesn't end here. She appealed the following year in September. However, the 12th District Court of Appeals stood behind the original verdict. The person we spoke to also had something to say about this.
She loved kids. I've seen her around children. She was around my brother's children, and she was wonderful with them. She has the patience of Job. Right now, I would leave my children alone with her. I would leave my grandchildren alone with her and not think twice about it, even after all of this. Intuition alone is all I need to know that she didn't do it. And I'm really upset, not only for Lindsay, but for that baby. To think that someone
Bitch in disbelief. Shut the fuck. She gonna beat your baby too.
else did this and is getting away with it. That infuriates me.
By the time Lindsay's trial had rolled around, her and TJ were no longer together. and actually weren't on speaking terms. He'd even refused to testify for her in court. In an ironic twist, TJ would end up in cuffs just 6 months later. In September 2019, TJ was arrested and indicted on multiple charges. He got out of prison on a $250,000 bond, and on June 2, 2022, he took a plea deal, pleading guilty to a lesser charge of 1 count of aggravated assault. The rest of the charges were dropped. As of the release of this video, he has yet to be sentenced. Despite her conviction, to this day, Lindsay maintains her innocence. She insists that she was pushed into making those confessions, and furthermore, she's recently asserted that she can now prove her claims because of a photograph. In the photo, Hannah is sitting shirtless in a high chair, looking directly at the camera. There are 2 small circular bruises on her chest, right below her neck where the knots in her collarbone would be. This picture was taken on Hannah's first birthday, a year before Lindsay and Hannah would meet for the first time. Lindsay claims that photo could possibly prove that Hannah had allegedly suffered a before she began babysitting her, though of course this has never been confirmed to be true. Still, Lindsay's family is trying to use this photo to file a new appeal. But unless they can prove her allegations, Lindsay will sit in prison until at least 2036, and possibly for